I'll get rid of them now.
Good morning.
You turn us on now.
Let's call the meeting order, please. Today is Tuesday, it's April the 13th. We're here at the Maintenance Building for our regular monthly meetings. We're going to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge of allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy,
Here.
Mr. Pollock,
Here.
Mr. Smith,
Here.
Ms. Call, Mr. Key.
Here. Okay. Good to see, good to see some folks here.
Got your phone off.
Everybody got your phone off?
It's in
There, you got yours off.
It's plugged up and
Oh,
on.
you don't even have, all right. I assume everybody survived the monsoon. I'm sure we had some issues in town, but for the most part, everything that I saw and heard, we recovered quickly, so that was quite an event. Citizens' comments. The rules are, if it's on the agenda, please withhold your comments until we reach that agenda item. If you have a citizen's comment, it is your time now. Mr. Lance.
I did just have one thing. On the planning and zoning, I had a replat on 33rd Street, and I didn't see it on this agenda. I just want to make sure everything was good there.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, we got a replat on 11333rd. Check your agenda.
I'm looking at it now.
Item number 5.
I may have missed it.
6, category 6, item 5. Should be in the back.
Curtis phone over is on the back page.
Okay. I didn't get the bad page. That's fine.
All right. Are there other citizens' comments? Yes, sir, Rock.
Rock Creek, Colorado. A couple of quick ones. Last night I went to the paved lot across from the new gas station. You got all the PVC pipe out there. I thought on the landscaping, didn't something change where DOT said you couldn't put piping in it? You had to have a water truck for a couple of years?
I can respond if you'd like. No, all that DOT said was that you could not tell them that they had to have it. The contractor is responsible for keeping the plants alive for 2 years, and it's his design. If he chooses to put piping, it's his design. If he chooses to put hoses or to use water trucks, but it's up to them to keep the plants alive.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense than having a water truck for 2 years. That was kind of dumb. Second thing, 15th Street, not 5th Street. Come down, you make a turn. You got all this dirt dumped on the side of the road. What's going on with that? It's like every time I drive by, there's a new pile of dirt sitting there.
I've seen the dirt, but I can't speak to it.
What we're doing, Rock, is we're just kind of, as we work on ditches, we're putting that dirt on the side of the road and we're removing it. Because we don't have a storage place anywhere to actually store it, and that's why you see it comes and goes. The guys are working in that area and they put that dirt there so we can get it to put in the ditches rather than trying to haul it from one end of town all the way to the other end of town.
I just want to make sure nobody's dumping stuff.
Yeah, no, it's us, and a couple of people has called me and asked me about would like to get like a little bit of their truck to put somewhere, and I told them by all means, it's not something that the city's paid for. It's actually dirt that we took out of ditches when we put in the stormwater pipe, and if somebody wants to get some of it, they're more than welcome to do that. Okay. But eventually we will clean all that. We'll all be gone.
Okay, thanks, Tommy.
Yes, sir.
Another one, the road for the boat ramp. Any word back yet on that? What they're going to do? They're going to move it next to the bridge, put in a service road? I mean, this is getting closer and closer here.
Yes. They have the permit for the work that they have. They've asked for, now that they've got their permit, they've asked for the possibility of doing another driveway cut, and that's in FDOT's hands.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Last but not least, the piece of garbage at the end of my street. What are the fines up to now? It's pretty embarrassing. I've had family come in and friends come in, and I drive through the neighborhood and they see that thing sitting at the end of the street, and they're like, the city cannot clean this up. It's been there for 2.5 years. I mean, it is embarrassing. You guys, everyone sitting here should be embarrassed.
Yes, it's my welcome center.
Is it the welcome center?
Yeah,
I your welcome center.
yep. Everybody sitting
What
at the
is
table should be
the,
embarrassed.
we'll ask, what is the, is there any progress on that at all?
We can't.
Is it?
Mr. went to the master, and supposedly he's just accruing the fines to it.
No communication with them at all.
No, every time I tried with them, I can't get hold of them.
And he's got 2 of them.
So the special master just upheld what the city's done, it's being fined, and that's the end of that.
Yes, sir. But
I can't recall in the order copy, did it provide, I don't think I ever saw the final written order, did it provide the option of the city to go remove the
I
property
didn't see
itself?
anything from Jim Bush on the final part.
Okay. Ordinarily, that would be an option. The city would have the choice to go remove it itself. We could look at that, but I mean, if it's getting to the point, that's what you want to start considering on this.
Well, I think in that case, the guy, there is no, if you can't communicate with them.
No.
Oh, I agree. I meant in terms of the expenditure by the city.
Oh, yes, yeah, lien the property.
That can, we'll get that in place. I meant as far as the city wanting to remove the structures itself.
Well, we can discuss that. Why don't we make thing is, if we start that one, maybe we ought to look at, there's others. Rock comes and makes a legitimate complaint, but there are other places in town that have other legitimate complaints. They just don't come here every other week and tell us about it. So maybe we ought to get a list of those we don't, that are in the same category, quote, as the welcome center. And look at more than just that.
Right. What the overall cost is. how
Yeah,
much-
see what's involved. Why we do that? For the next meeting, get us that.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
You got it. Other citizen comments before we move on. Okay? Moving on to department reports.
Mayor, briefly
Yeah.
before we get started. So to address Lance's question, it does look like the agenda that was posted online was incomplete, but I think we have some paper agendas here that are complete. So, yeah, Lance, I see
Okay,
your
Lance.
items in the packet. The materials are all here, but this posted agenda I don't think includes everything.
You feel better?
Oh, it's crazy.
I can see that smile. You feel better, don't you? All right. How are we doing our financial?
Debbie? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good morning, Debbie.
Okay, so, good morning, Mayor and Council.
Morning.
So I'll just explain what I've been doing. All of the 2018 audit filings have been completed. All the entries have been done, so we're done with the 2019 fiscal year. Scheduled the 2020 fiscal year audit to begin in June. I'm hoping we can have that audit done by November, December, and then we start getting caught back up for the 2021 audit. I'm creating the new calendar for the budget and the trim filing and stuff so we can get those on the calendar for meetings. And carrying on with the bank reconciliation, excuse me, in June. And so as far as that, going forward, and then I've got a lot of cleanup work to do for 2020, so hopefully I can get all that done by the time the auditor starts.
Okay. How far along are you with reconciliation?
Pardon me?
He asked, how far along are you with reconciliation? And I think you had said June, and I'm assuming it's June of 2020.
Right. I had to go back into September, October of 2019 for the audit to tie the cash back. There was an issue, so that delayed me, so I'm back on track now.
when the audit was complete, their numbers didn't exactly match with the reconciliation that we had on the books for that year, so she had to backtrack it.
We still have money in the bank?
We still have money in the bank.
We are good there. I hope to have, it's hard to, I mean, I know you don't have to have cash reports. I can do estimated cash reports based on where we are, but as far as the cash reconciliation, it is a lot, it's harder to go back here than it is back in 30 days.
I understand. All right, keep plowing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Heather.
Not any questions? No, there's not much we can do other than that. At least we're talking 15 months in the rear instead of 30 months in the rear. Okay. Moving on. Chief?
Morning, everybody. I'm sure those of you who've been down around the canal and the boat launch will see that having been approached by a member of the public in regards to life rings not being available, they are now. We have 2 at the boat launch. We have 2 this side of the bridge on Canal Parkway. We have 2 the other side of the bridge on Canal Parkway. And our plan is to put 1 more on the pavilion when the pavilion is built at the end of Canal Parkway. So should there be anybody accidentally fall into the canal whilst launching boats and so on and so forth, there is now a way of at least getting them a flotation device and then working them out of the canal. We need to thank Nate at Mexico Beach Marina. He helped in organising all this, and he gave the city 2 of those life rings for free. So it was in conjunction with him that we managed to do all of that. The Public Works Yard pole barn that we had talked about and got permission to put up is actually being started today. We should in theory see that going up hopefully within the next 7 to 10 days. And then we can start putting the Public Works equipment that we have taken up their place here within the building. They'll be able to store it out underneath the pole barn, and then the left over land to the fire department needs to be undercover. The new SCBA filling station, which is to fill those bottles on our backs, that has been installed. There was an issue last night where it blew a seal at 6,000 psi. So they're coming back on Thursday to retrofit with a new seal, but in theory that is installed and will be fully operational come at the end of this week. Other than that, it is basically business as usual, keeping it in with Bay County Sheriff's Office and anybody else that requires. We've also finished the installation of all the key boxes that we talked about back in November, December. All of those have now been installed, bar 1, and that is an issue between mother and son. One wants, one doesn't, but that's another thing. But other than that, we've installed 12 so far within the city for older members of the population who live on their own primarily.
Thank you, sir. Questions for the fire department? Lieutenant, what you got?
Got our monthly from March calls for service, 198 calls, traffic stops, 59 miles patrolled, 11,147 citations, 56, 43 of those are warnings, 6 arrests, and 1 traffic accident. Other than that, we've had a few cases of some little thefts and things like that that we're working on right now, but we're going to work it out here just a bit.
Question for our police department? All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Mayor, can we vote the building department a couple down? I left something in the office and it's being brought over to me.
Absolutely. Kathy, how about you? What you got?
Just a few little items. Demos over on 37th Street, 3 out of the 4 are now removed. One's still there. I spoke to Carol. She's telling me about it. Her insurance company refuses her to demo that until they finish their litigation. So she's trying her best to get that done. We've had one at 406 Maryland that is now gone and cleaned up. And then the house over on 110 15th Street, there was a little blue one up front there. That's all gone. That's been demoed. And the house over on Hatley, that front one there, that's been bought by auction last week. And I spoke to the new owners yesterday, and somebody has taken away the RV. They were giving it away for free. And they have to wait 10 days before they can demo it, I guess, for the paperwork to be finalized. But that should be done hopefully by next time we have a meeting. We have a couple weddings coming up that we have on the beach. And we've got about 3 or 4 RVs that have been removed now from their lots. And next we'll be checking on the turtle lights, make sure everybody's ready for the turtles next month. Because we had quite a few of them, their lights were affecting the turtles. So we're going to jump on it this year. And that's it.
Okay. Any questions for the code? Seems like we're moving forward with those. Thank you for your effort. Okay. Bobby, you want to go backtrack?
Yes, sir. This is a report that goes from last month on the 23rd to today on the 13th. There were 9 single-family homes released at the tune of $1.7 million. 1 detached single-family home, 2 detached single-family homes at the tune of $288,000, and a manufactured home at $109,000. So for a total of $2,100,000 worth of permitting that was done in this last 2.5 weeks.
Good. Easy to see when you ride through town. There's worker bees out there. All right. Any questions as far as or comments on the building part? No. All right, Tommy.
Good morning, council. Good. Public Works, I passed out a list again, just a few things, want to mention. Number 1, dredging. We are working on the west side now. I sent out a text to everybody, let them know. Thank goodness for the work that Troy and Nick did. This past weekend, we did not sand over in the mouth of the canal. First time that hadn't happened in a long time. It would have been sanded completely over after the little blow we had this past weekend. They had the hole punched out there on the west side, but it's about halfway filled back in just from the storm we had this weekend, so they're going to be cleaning that back out this week. But that's good news. That's going to save us from having to spend half a week trying to get canal up back up to the boat to get out. So Troy and Nick's done an excellent job on that. We started cleaning. I had a crew over on 36th Street North. We are cleaning up back in the back part of that, on the back side of the boat launch area. A lot of hurricane debris still in the ditches back there that once we got back there and started cleaning that up, we found, and we're working on getting all that cleaned up in that area now. Grass cutting has started back throughout the city, wide open again. Grass is growing. 90, 85, 90 degree weather. Kicked it back off. We're still grinding stumps. We got a notice this week that the QLM grant for Hurricane Michael is ending April the 30th. So we have one worker, Dave Labonte, that's still working with us from that grant. That will be his last day. Dave's done a wonderful job, and we're still working on all the stumps we can get between now and the end of the month, since we have the stump grinder. So we're still working on that. Had a lot of calls since Friday about ditches being plugged up. Had a lot of great talks with different citizens. I just want everybody to know, please be patient. I have a list of those that we are going to address those problems and get those ditches cleaned out where the water will be back there. But if there's anything else, it's going to take a while. I have about 20 of them on the list right now. We are going to get those. I want to let everybody know that work started today on the Highway 98 beautification project. They are starting today. Jody told me this morning that probably would take about 6 weeks for them to complete. So we have no issues. Hopefully that'll be done within the next month. Sanitation department picked up 194,400 pounds of trash in the month of March. And we have 2 new sanitation employees that will start tomorrow. Get them broke in back on the truck with one loss. And I talked with Martin from the Florida Department of Transportation, and they're fixing to kick off the rest of our sidewalks for us. He said they're getting all that staged up now, so we should get the rest of those sidewalks repaired pretty quickly. And that's about it, other than just normal stuff.
City looks good, Tom. Very, very.
Can I ask you, on 36, which way does that work, toward the west or east, come back around? How does it get out there?
Which one now?
36.
36th Street, it flows down towards the boat ramp.
Okay,
Yeah.
so all that water on those ditches goes that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What we found back there, that was kind of all rode up, and we got back there. I had a crew back there started cutting and cleaning, and when we got back there and got one of the ditches cleaned out, we found air conditioners, everything else that was in that ditch, I guess, was missed when the initial hurricane, cleaned up the hurricane crew. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's enough. It looks really bad. We're gonna get all that cut, cleaned up, weed eated, and trees. We took down about 25 trees in that one area back there, close to where Lee's building his new house. Those have all been taken down. We're getting all that cleaned up and stumps ground up. So that it's just something that needed to be done. I've had 2 or 3 citizens from that area that's called about, seeing about getting that done. And it's not nothing we put off. It's just we try and with the number of people we have, it's hard to get everything at one time. But that is being done now, so we're gonna get all that cleaned up where it looks nice.
Tom, have you had any more information on street signs? I know you put the bid back out.
I spoke with Dina this morning. We're putting added some questions and answers that's going to go on there with the rest of that site. But if I'm not mistaken, Dina said that I think the 15th is coming up pretty soon.
It's due this Wednesday, and because of the questions that were asked, we're pushing it to next week. So we'll have the bids for next week, and for the next city council meeting, we should be able to approve the low bid on that.
Yeah, we're getting close.
Thank you. Why can street signs be so
I can't understand why in the world we ain't got like 2.5 years and we got so street signs.
Maybe you need to start a new business. Told you that art group has been.
I'm telling you, I like them too.
All right, moving on. Thank you. All right, Kevin, go ahead.
Everything's going pretty well in utilities. We're trying to keep up with new installations. We're repairing lateral on a daily basis. And we've had to pull a couple of pumps this week. Got some trash in them. Get them unplugged. And get them back up and going. We've got some lots on Bailey Lane. I went out and got some quotes. Instead of having to cut the road, the main's on the opposite side of the road to get bores made underneath the road. It's in your agenda there. We did have an inspection on our tank, our million-gallon tank. We do have some small issues that we'll have to address, and we'll reach out to Chrome and get a price to fix those. Now, one we're working on ourselves. Where it overflowed, it was kind of undermining the foundation. We pushed the sand and rubble back up there, and I'm getting some concrete and making a row of concrete so if it overflows, it can't boil out underneath the tank anymore.
What kind of concrete are you talking about?
Sacrifice concrete and laid up there. When I talked to him, he said that was a good idea to take and lay that up there in roads that when it overflows, it hit that, it won't undermine the bottom of the tank. And that everything's going pretty good.
All right. Thank you, sir. David?
Yes, sir.
What you got?
The Hurricane Michael repairs on the 15th Street box culvert. Our structural engineer came back with he suggested an alternate repair from what is out there, because of the wing loss. What his suggestion was to extend that box structure out 8 feet, the actual box itself, and then go back in with some straight head walls and then fill in the banks around it. Spoke with Ryan about because it's obviously we're dealing with FEMA, we need to make sure that it's not gonna cost any more than if we repaired it as is or as was. So we're trying to get that pricing out from contractors, so we can verify the cost of it and then move forward if we need to. This alternate design would be better for the city, because right now you've got a force main encased in the header of that box culvert, and if there's ever a problem, you can't get to it. So what we would do is we would pull that force main out and put a encasement through the box culvert itself, and then put the force main in there. So if you ever have to go and get to it, it's just a matter of pulling it out of the encasement. So it puts the city in a better situation for needed repairs down the road too. So hopefully we'll get some pricing back from the contractors here shortly, and we can figure out which way we're going to go with it. The Sunset Park, the pavilion, we submitted that to the DOT for review because we're using their JPA grant for the landscaping. Initial response was they wanted to see some additional landscaping up near the right of way, so expect some comments from them. And the DEP permit will get submitted. They came back, they wanted some additional information shown on our survey, so our surveyors had to go back out and pick up some information. So I'm expecting that next week and get that into the DEP and get that process started.
Okay. Is that the only thing we got?
The boat ramp, we're still, the DEP came back with some REI information, request for additional information, so we're responding to that, and we're still holding for a core, waiting for a response.
And how is our marina project moving?
We had a meeting on Thursday. They should be starting the boat pier, the pilot, sorry, looking for the word, the pilot. They should be starting that within the next week and be done, I think, within 4 weeks. That should open up boat slips for Jerry to rent out.
What about the electric? Have we seen some electrical people down there working?
Yeah, they're waiting for the pedestals to come in. The pedestals that plug into, they're waiting for that material to come in.
They should be at the end of the month, pedestals. And then they can, I think the wire and all, they got it running in the water.
They got it all full.
I think they don't have it. They said they're waiting on the pedestals Thursday.
Okay. Questions for Dewberry? David, anything else?
No, sir.
Mayor, on the permitting side of that, David was very insistent going back to DEP and trying to get us permission to do these things through existing facilities being replaced, and fortunately we got a hold of someone within DEP that actually offered up. There is a state statute that allows us to get a waiver for those fees. So that DEP person pointed me out to the state statute that allows us to pull our current permits and our future permits until we dig out of where we are without a cost to the city. So to give you an idea, over at the marina, that was a $750 cost. Over at a different location, it was a $1,500 cost. So we will continue to get those costs, but with this state statute, DEP is able to waive those costs to the city.
I'm just smiling. I'm hesitant to comment.
All good. It's good. It's good news for the city. We're saving a little bit. Pulling teeth to get there, but yes.
That's absolutely awesome. We are due a break. Ryan, there you are.
Okay. A lot of stuff happening since last time I was here, which is good stuff. We'll get to that. A couple of updates. Start off with some of the projects that we've been talking about the last couple of times we've been down. First, just wanted to throw out that NRCS project over in Salt Creek. We finished that a while back, but we were waiting on a lot of reimbursement. We got that back now, so the city's fully reimbursed. That project is closed out, completed, and everything's back to you guys. So that's all positive in that, you got that work done and didn't have to pay for it, which is great. So close that out. In terms of the FEMA public assistance work, that wastewater collection system project that I talked about the last couple of times finally did get obligated. I think I mentioned last time that I had preempted the state and given them all the stuff they needed to start doing the reimbursements. So they've been going through doing their validation on that, and hopefully before too long here we should start actually seeing the money flow back in on that project, which is great news. Our three big projects that we're still pushing to try to get through and get FEMA approval on. We've had some RFIs, requests for information from FEMA. The jetty project, we got those back and answered them, I think, 2 weeks ago. Maybe it was even 3. And so we're waiting on FEMA to give either their go-ahead or if they have more questions about our questions. That does sometimes happen. On the pier project, we got a really big RFI from FEMA. A lot of questions. I think it was just a complex project out over open water. And we got through those last Friday and sent them back. So same kind of deal as the jetty. We're waiting on further sort of instructions from FEMA on that. And then on the municipal complex, FEMA had asked us to basically kind of go back to the existing site and develop a cost estimate there so that they could compare those costs. We wanted to, before we jumped into doing all that, because we knew that was going to take some effort, kind of lay out a plan for FEMA and get their blessing on what our plan would be for doing that, because it's a pretty complex site, or pretty complex task to undertake to do it at the old site with all the new regulations and bringing it up to code. And so we've sent that in to FEMA as well, and we're waiting on the CRC folks, which is kind of like the engineering side of FEMA, to get us a response back on that. So those three projects, we basically try to push everything back on FEMA's plate. We're waiting for the next steps on those. The really big good news of last week was that we got the second advance on the first dredge project, which is for another $6 million. Working with Mario and Mary over at City Hall, we've gotten those paid out, and so now we're completely paid out on all the old dredge work, which is really, really good news. That I won't stand here and take like 100% of the credit. That's a huge effort from a lot of different folks. David's folks doing survey, Dino, of course, on our team, folks at Crowder Gulf doing the actual work, and being really patient about getting payment. So just want to congratulate everybody on that effort for working to get to that point, even though it took a long time. It feels good to be at that point now. I'm going to skip just for a second these last two bullet items because there's a couple things that I think Mario wanted to kind of talk with you guys about, and jump down to that table at the end. Mario and I were talking, and we just thought it would be interesting to kind of see where we've come over the last year. And so that table that I normally show you guys of how much we've got obligated and how much we've actually had paid out, I added in that second column where we were in March of last year. So you can see we were obligated around $49 million and have been paid out about $22 million. And as of yesterday, we pushed it up to an obligated amount of $91 million and have been paid out $62 million. So I think a lot of really good progress. I think we're starting to get to the point, where if we can get these last couple of projects through, we'll know what our final obligation amount is, and then we can really just focus all of our energy on trying to get the money back and get the projects and the work done. So, it was cool to kind of see. I have never really thought about looking back a full year and seeing how far we've come, but we've come a good way. So before I jump into these kind of two discussion points or items, do you guys any questions on any of that stuff that I discussed?
The municipal complex project.
Yeah.
We're talking about where the police and fire were before.
Yes.
Instead of putting them where we're wanting to put them now. Is that correct?
Correct. That's what they wanted us to estimate.
It's an exercise. We have to price it in the old location. So
Even though they're not going to let us put it there.
Just so that FEMA knows what that cost was. It's an exercise. Please understand.
And futility.
Yes.
Well,
it sets the bar.
Okay.
For the cost.
Okay. Because they won't let us put it there, I knew that, that was my question. Because it's shaded X, and on the conversation that we had with FEMA way back, he said as long as you don't put any of those kinds of things in a shaded X area, or as long as it's in an X, then they will fund it. So that was my question.
I'm going to comment. That's okay that they're telling us to do that, but they're telling us 16 months after we've been doing all the work we've been doing.
Right.
You know, that's the very frustrating part.
Yes, incredible. And
Incredible that we would do that amount of work, with FEMA at the table, FEMA on the phone, and go to the CRC and be told in a 30-minute conversation, no, we can't do that.
yeah, because
So,
I mean, there's no way to understand that, really, other than just
drink a lot.
Yeah. Okay, but you answered my question, and that was just what I wanted to clarify. All right.
I'm frustrated by it.
Yeah.
So these last two bullet points, two things, and Mara, feel free to jump in there wherever you feel like it. But on the second dredge project, the dredge that's remaining, essentially, we've got kind of two options. We could bid that work out again, which is kind of that option B that I put down there. But we do also have existing contracts with Crowder Gulf and Eisman to do the dredging and the dredge monitoring respectively. I think there's potential pros and cons of both strategies, but Mario.
And again, keep in mind, we're still waiting for FEMA to obligate this. So it's not like we have to go ahead to kick it off. We're getting ready so that when they say start, we're ready to start the race. That being said, I made contact with Crowder Gulf last week to ask them how soon could you start if you were told to start tomorrow. And keeping in mind that it's not just the dredging, they actually have to prepare the spoil sites before they can start the dredging. So they need 2 or 3 weeks before they physically start the canal work to get everything else ready. So long story short, the soonest that they could get out there responsibly and start work would be in the beginning of July. They could start setting up the spoil site. By the end of July, they would be ready to start doing the dredge work. That is probably the most aggressive that we could get, and I went on the internet web and checked to see what snapper season was, and there's still no commitment to snapper season. I'm just going back to the last couple, 3 years. It typically starts in June and goes through the middle of July. So that's why I was giving them how soon could you start in that July time frame. With the new snapper counts, who knows what the snapper season will be. So again, that is the most aggressive. In talking to Ryan and Dina, the most aggressive that they think that we'll get these funds obligated is probably the middle of summer, which is that June, July time frame. So getting them involved would be one thing. Keep in mind what the city did back in 2019 was they put out an RFP for qualified dredge contractors and debris contractors and all those things. Our contract with Crowder Gulf goes all the way out to, I think it's June of 2024. So we've got them under contract. We can trigger them to do anything that's hurricane related from now through that time frame. We could put this thing back out to bid. That contract allows us to do that. However, Crowder Gulf has been a pretty darn good partner in the sense that they did the work and they're just now getting paid for it. They know how to do it properly so that we can get all the justifications to get repaid by FEMA. FEMA has already approved them as a contractor, so our recommendation as consultant and staff is to stay with Crowder Gulf. But if you all would like, we can bid this thing back out. Please understand, this is a standard project. Whether it comes in at $5 million or $6 million, it's still a standard project, and the funds will get paid more based on 23,000 cubic yards. And again, the fact that we've got a contract, we could release it on that. We know that they can perform. We know that they can follow FEMA rules. We could potentially get a lower bid that may not know how to follow FEMA's procedures. So that's my caution at rebidding this thing. And then the same thing goes with, it's a two-part contract. It's the work to actually do the work, and then there's the group that monitors the work. So we would be the same idea with Eisman Russo. Do we keep them on board? They know how to do the process and keep it rolling, or do we rebid their work? Again, both have continuing contracts. This is a PA, and I just wanted to bring it up to y'all to see. Crowder Gulf could probably get started sooner than another contractor. We still have to put together a task order, basically the scope of work that needs to be done for this. It's approximately 23,000 cubic yards. It goes from the existing channel to the seawall and clears maximum of 5 feet within that area.
In their contract with Crowder and Eisman goes through 24 as well?
I believe so. They were hired as a general emergency response contractor, so they wouldn't even have to be for Hurricane Michael. If we had a new hurricane, they're on call. Yeah.
Okay, so in their contract, how much leeway do they have to raise rates because of increased fuel costs, anything like that? I'm assuming that any company typically puts in there, listen, if my materials go up or if fuel goes up, then I charge you an extra rate. Is that, do you think that's in there?
I'd have to look at the contract to find that level of detail.
Well, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is just like everybody else who's in business, you know, my stuff's going up. My trucking company is fixing to start charging $400 more a load because of fuel's going up, so everything's going up. And I'm just saying all of this to say this is that by staying with the Crowder company, and they have been really good about not pitching a fit about the money that was owed for so long, chances are better that we're going to get a better deal out of them, and we already know who we're dealing with. So without any other information, I personally would be in favor of keeping Crowder. I think it's a better, it's got the potential to be a better deal than anything we could find. Because I think all the new companies are going to come in and they're going to be higher because everything else has gotten higher. I mean, and the mayor can speak to this, lumber is essentially double. I guess lumber is still double. Not that they're going to need lumber, but everything is going up really fast. So there's one for that. So.
Can I ask a question to Ryan?
Yeah.
So let's say hypothetically the city rebid this contract and saved $1 million. With the news we've heard recently as far as local matches, will there actually be a change to the city's bottom line?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I don't know how much you guys have heard or read about it, but the governor made a recent announcement that they were going to cover 100% of costs. So in that case, this is a project based on actuals. I won't speak to whether or not that's 100%, that announcement's going through 100% or whatever. He said it, so I think that's what we have to work on. But if that is true and goes through, and they're able to fund it 100%, this project's based on actuals that are completed. So for you guys, it wouldn't change your bottom line at all because you'd basically be getting reimbursed for 100% of whatever it ended up costing, even if the contractor rate.
As long as they follow the procedures.
Yeah, right.
I think Mario's point was earlier that if we get somebody new in here that doesn't know how to do it.
We have the right commodity that knows how to do it.
Well, I'm for staying with proven track record.
Yeah, right.
And those folks
and be loyal to them. They've been good with us.
Fairly been good to us.
Now, speaking to the governor's thing, is that the reimbursement fees that we were going to have to come out of pocket?
Yes.
And I know in your
matches,
you said that it could be $5 to $10 million. That's huge.
Oh, it's absolutely massive. When the governor said that, there was some part of me that said that's too good to be true.
Right.
So we actually questioned and re-questioned, and we actually got a response through the FEMA team. So I asked the question, I think, on Tuesday, and we had the meeting on Wednesday, and we actually got a written response on Thursday that it was confirmed that is what that means.
Okay, and so when are we going to know that that's going to be actually happening? Do we have any idea, or is that, or could we know?
Again, that's state. So
okay, so we just have to follow the
We've been in contact with them to say, like, please keep us informed, because I think the other, of course, first question is, what's the implementation of that? We've got these other projects, like, are they gonna shoot us a check for however much that match was, or is it gonna be something they do later on at closeout?
So that's something that you guys are gonna be monitoring and keep us abreast of what's going on.
We'll try to keep you posted on
Okay.
that.
On this report, 91 million as of April obligated, and that number's gonna go up. We're gonna be, I mean, that's got $10 million number attached to it, is what the governor said for Mexico Beach.
We got a great governor. Thank you, Lord.
So, huge is that understatement of,
Yeah.
I bet even Debbie's smiling at that, right?
I'm crossing my fingers.
What, we got any, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No,
Sorry,
no,
what you got?
So that was the main thing on the dredge side for Crowder Gulf and Eisman Russo. And then again, staff has to put together the task order for the actual definition of the work. And there's going to be some interesting components to this work because, again, since they're going from the main channel to the seawall, there's a ton of boathouses there. There's a ton of boats there. There's a ton of complication there. So we need to get Crowder Gulf involved in this and how we write that and how we have to notify the owners of all these little boathouses because I guarantee that they're not going to go out there and start dredging underneath a place that's got a boat on it. So there's going to be an interesting time period while this work is going on. So nothing is simple. It's something that's out there.
And they're not stopping building those more and more and more and more.
No.
So it would be really cool if we could get them in here and dredge any of those areas that need to be dredged before the roots get on, because then it becomes a simpler, but those people are not gonna wait, and I don't blame them, they've been waiting 2.5 years to get a boat slip.
Again, there are boat slips that have roofs, there are boat slips that have boats underneath them, and that's going to be complicated when it comes time to dredge.
They'll find a way to get that boat out.
Yeah.
So that's coming here probably, like I said, after snapper season, they'll kick that off. Then the next.
So we will be clear for snapper season, we're not.
Yeah, no, right now we are, even if we got obligated today, the coordination that we're having with, the consultants would be, we would not start anything until after snapper season. But I also mentioned, I don't know how long snapper season is. I know when it starts.
Yeah.
I think I know when it starts, but I won't know when
Well,
it ends.
it's changing, and my guy who's in here on the 500-year flood thing about the house that he had over here, I spoke with him 2 or 3 times about snapper season. The state took over the regulation of snappers, everybody knows now. And they're moving kind of gingerly, because they don't want to freak the federal government out that they're doing stuff that they don't want them to do. But I think the best thing to do for snapper season, according to what they think and they would like for it to happen, is that there actually not be a snapper season, that it be open. Like it used to be, just regular open, because then we wouldn't congest ourselves in that time frame with people coming down here feeling like they gotta go catch all the snapper they're gonna be allowed for the year in 1 month. And so there's a lot of reasons for them to want to do that, is because second of all, and really kind of very, very important that people really don't think about, is being a charter captain and catching those red snapper. They were always full of eggs, so we're really loading up and catching a ton of those snappers when they're full of eggs, and we really should leave them alone during that period more. So anyhow, I just wanted to throw that in. They're working on it, state is trying to, and they're doing a better job. Thank you, state.
And then on right-of-way debris, we're currently working on verifying, I think it's $4.1 million for right-of-way debris. There's still about a $9 million balance on right-of-way debris. The state came to Ryan and said that they were willing to provide, I think it's $7.9 million advance up front to the city, that then the city could pay for that debris removal. And then once they verify that 7.9, then they would release the balance of 1.2 million or so on. Again, it sounds too good to be true because they typically only let out 4.1 after they verified it. They're willing to do the 7.9 without verification. They have verified 4.1 at this point. As long as there's a balance of 1.9 or so out there, we'll review, make sure that we're approving things that are the right thing, but if we miss something, we still have that 1.9 as a balance for anything that gets drawn back. So I want to bring that up because we have one of two choices: keep going the way that we've been, which is 4.1, wait 8, 9, 10 months and get another 4.1, or receive this 7.9. It'll probably take 10 or 11 months to verify that before we get the balance, but the state did offer that, and I think it's a good idea to receive the 7.9.
What is right-of-way debris project? Give me an example of what that is.
Right of way versus, so right of way is what I would call almost like the most common type, like most of the stuff that's out in not on people's private property, basically. So it's the non-2BDR project. It's basically our biggest amount of debris work.
So when the storm happened, that everybody just piled everything up along the right of way and it got hauled off, that's that massive
Okay.
effort.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah, that's probably there.
All right. Only question I have is back on the Greg's project too. It says the scope has been set by FEMA. We reviewed that scope.
Yeah, and by that I meant like they had agreed to the scope that we had.
The 23,000 cubic yards and 5 feet.
Yeah. I meant that to say we're good on knowing what the scope is,
Okay.
so we can proceed with the task force.
That would have sounded better.
Sorry. I was trying to save a little space.
And please understand that the price, and even if we got a quote, this is not a total dollar figure. This is a per truckload volume, hauled volume, deposited volume. So the numbers on these things when you get bids are not something that you can say, this is an apple and this is an apple. It's
Well, we asked in the meeting, were they gonna use the same criteria that we used in project one as far as low tickets, how that would, and they said, that, well, we're not gonna tell you how to do it. But we didn't have a problem with the first one. Did they ever clarify that they're okay with the way that's gonna be done?
they were willing to make it that clear. They said follow your chart.
Yeah.
Clear as mud.
But we have reviewed the scope, and we're comfortable that the scope, they said that we can do that work within their scope.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Any questions for Ryan?
I got one on the wastewater collection system. What? I must have missed that somewhere. What does that about putting in new lines or?
It's work that's already been done. This is a project we've been trying to catch up and push through the FEMA system because it's all the it's like putting in new lines and that sort of thing. But it's all completed work, so like it's work that essentially you guys have already paid for, and we're just trying to get the project through so that we can get the reimbursements. Is that what you're asking?
Close.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, moving to our regular agenda. Number one on that is a replat request, 38th Street. We'll open the public hearing for those of you who may be here for that. Mara, if you would, I know we have it in our agenda, but just for the record, if you will give us just a briefing before the hearing.
This is basically two lots that they're trying to pull together and put one home where there used to be two homes. So
as simple as it sounds.
Simple as it sounds. And again, within this agenda, we're actually talking about taking that and allowing staff to do that level of approval without having to come to council.
Mayor, if I could, before we start, my suggestion, we've got 7 planning-related hearings. We generally have people swear in before they testify. Maybe we do one swearing in that covers all 7. Anyone in the audience that thinks they might want to talk on any of these, we've got replats and variances. I'm going to just ask you to swear yourself in right now. This is for applicants or just general members of the audience. So if you think you're gonna speak to any of these 7, please raise your right hand. And do you swear to tell the truth today and the whole truth? And if you do, please say I do.
I do.
All right, thank you.
Okay? So, we will move, the public hearing is open for anyone that's here to speak on the, request to combine the lots on 38th Street. Anyone here? Any comment from, or any, no one here to speak? All right, we'll close the public hearing, move to the table. As was just stated, this is, we should be used to this by now, so to speak. Either discussion or motion.
Doctor, you really I make a motion we approve the replat of 111 38th Street and 109 38th Street, combine the 2 lots.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any further discussion from the table? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Keith?
Yes.
Thank you. Number 2 is a variance request on side setback on 3800 Highway 98. Open the public hearing and excuse me. This is a sign. If I'm reading this right, Mauro, just what was there before, and they want to put a sign back.
Yes, sir.
Anyone here to speak for 3800 Highway 98?
That's the shell shack. We just want to put our sign back where it was, the big billboard type sign. Current regulations is it would have to be 15 foot off of either property line, that'd be in the middle of my parking lot. We just want to put it back on the east property line where it was before the storm. Thanks.
All right. Any other public hearing comments on this variance request? Close the public hearing, move the table. Nick's here if we have any questions. If not, discussion or motion.
Yeah, if I could, normally in our packet on variances, we have the standards of review written out for just information reminder. I pulled those up. I'm going to just read through those, and as you deliberate, keep those in mind. If you're inclined to approve, consider those factors and try to focus on those in your deliberations. So the standards of review for the variance are that the variance shall not authorize changes to the comprehensive plan future land use map, the zoning map, or the densities and allowable uses associated therewith. Number 2, the applicant must clearly demonstrate and show that the hardship is unique to the applicant and the applicant's property and is not suffered by adjacent or nearby property owners or the general public. Number 3, the hardship relates to the land involved rather than the applicant's personal circumstances. Number 4, the hardship is not the result of the applicant's own actions. Number 5, the variance, if approved, is the minimum necessary to provide reasonable beneficial use of the property involved. And number 6, the variance is specifically intended and necessary to promote other important city objectives or policies.
Thank you. So, further either discussions or motion?
Well, it's going back in the same place.
Exactly.
The people beside him sent a letter saying there's no problem with it. I make a motion we approve the variance on 3800 Highway 98.
Second.
Motion second. Any further comments? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Keith?
Yes.
All right, moving on to number 3 is a variance request at 512 Highway 98. We'll open the public hearing, and Mauro, just, again, we have it, but I think the record needs to just give us a briefing on that.
Certainly. And Mayor, it's almost easier to talk about number 3 and number 4
Yeah,
together.
I was going to say that.
It's basically 2 lots side by side that they're going to build with a zero. We didn't do a townhome on this lot, but At this point, they're changing it to where they could do a townhome on this lot, and it's the setback in between so that they can build a townhome on these two lots.
We've had multiple of these.
Yeah, one other comment. This is residential low density, which generally wouldn't allow attached homes. The record in here discusses, though, and Mario confirmed he believes is correct, that we did a replat several months ago, and it went from 3 lots to 2 lots, and as part of that replat, the intent was to eventually build 2 townhome units. So while this isn't normal to approve a townhome on a residential low density property, it's less density than what's existed previously, and should be an improvement over having 3 townhomes rebuilt in the same footprint.
Public hearing's open. Anyone here to speak on number 3, which is the 512 Highway 98?
May I ask a question?
Absolutely.
I just, so they're not wanting like a variance to go, they're just wanting to be able to do the 2 instead of the 3 that were there before. Is that what I'm understanding? They're not wanting to
Correct.
expand
They're
it?
asking for the variance between their 2 lots. They're not
Okay.
asking for a variance on
Okay.
the outside.
That's what I wanted to clarify. Thank you.
For the record, please just identify yourself.
I'm Danya Crosby, just a homeowner.
Okay.
behind the lot.
Others? All right, we'll close the public hearing. Come to the table again for either comments, discussion, or motion.
I make a motion to pass variance 512A Highway 98 side setback.
Second.
Can you do B2?
And the
No. It's on the agenda separate. We're going to do them separate. So we're doing, what Jerry's motion is fine.
okay.
And we have a second. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Keith?
Yes.
All right, moving on to number 4, which is, as was discussed, the sort of shadow of that one. We'll open the public hearing for 512 Highway 98. Anyone here to speak? No one here? Okay. Close the public hearing and again move to the table for comments or motion.
Make a motion to pass variance 512B at Highway 98 side setback.
Motion and second. Please call the roll.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Keith?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, moving to 113 33rd Street is a lot split. We'll open the public hearing. Mario, again, please, just a little quick summary.
This was a lot combination, not a lot splits. Give me a second. Here you go. Thank you. This is taking one lot and making it into 2 smaller lots. I'm trying to get the width of the lot in here. 100 foot. So,
I've got some extras here. Lance Welcome, Southeastern Consulting Engineers. And here, what this is, was a lot split that was approved back a year and a half ago. And it was approved to go to, well, I might have handed everything out.
So what was that before you continue? What you passed out, is it different than what's in the packet?
No, that's just a larger.
Just a larger, okay.
So the one on top is what's proposed right now with this, this replat. What is on the second page is what has already been approved on this lot. The lot was sold. So the one you're looking at on the second page was approved, and the only difference in that one and what's proposed, the original one had a 20-foot front setback off 33rd Street, and it had a 10-foot access easement through the western lot to get to the eastern lot. And what the new owner is wanting to do is increase that easement from 10 feet to 18 feet to allow for better access and boat parking, and to utilize the 10-foot corner setback off of 33rd Street rather than a 20-foot front setback. And that would go with the typical Gulf front lots that allow the Gulf side to have the front setback of 20 feet and 10-foot corner setback off the road, and then all the side setbacks would still be 7.5. So this is just changing, a request to change what has already been approved. The lot split has already been approved, the second one. This is just changing setbacks and easement, more or less.
So the one on the back is what was approved, and the one on the front?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the one on the front is what they want to go to?
Yep.
I think it's the other way around. Did we approve the one on the front?
You approved the one on the back.
On the back, the
Yes, sir.
9.5 foot?
Yes, sir. And that one had a 10-foot access easement, and what they're wanting is the 18-foot access easement.
The titles on those surveys, one says 2019, one says 2021. The 2019 is the one that Lance has described as already approved. The 2021 is the one under consideration right now.
I'm trying to figure out why you're here. I don't, what about
It's
this?
changing the lot
doesn't fit
size
with-
and the setbacks.
Where's the setback variance?
Well, there's no variance. So in changing that 20-foot roadside setback to a 10-foot corner setback, that shifted that property line slightly, and it allows for a little bit wider structures on both properties. It gives each property 5 more foot in width, and also the access easement has changed to be larger.
So the originally approved version of this had the home that would be on 33rd Street further from 33rd Street. This new version has the home closer to 33rd Street. That's the main difference I see.
Right, and that easement.
Yeah, but you probably could have done the easement on your own without doing applying action. So this is residential high density, the side setbacks. Lance, you probably already studied this.
7.5 feet on side setbacks.
Okay, so this would have, I think at some point you described it as, we would treat the front of the home as being on a different side of the property, so the setbacks would be?
Right, treat the Gulf side as the front setback,
Okay.
and then the corner setback off of 33rd Street,
And
which is 10 feet rather than the 20.
so previously, this parcel A was treating the front as the road frontage, and that's why it was set back further from the road. Is that the main situation?
And so the reason we had to come back to the council with it is not necessarily because of the setback issue, but because we're going to a different setback, that the shared property line, the splitting property line shifted west 5 feet.
Okay.
When you look at both of them, one over the other, you can see
one
how
lot
that line is slid over from that. They're closer to equal now than they were before.
Yeah.
So it's just utilizing those setbacks to shift that property line 5 feet.
Right.
So this 20-foot front setback is on the ocean side.
Yes, sir.
And so the road is where it's L1 and L4.
Right, that's the 10-foot, that's what's considered a corner setback. On the road ending lots that are adjacent to the Gulf, that would be the corner setback.
So just some commentary, shifting the lot line to adjust the relative sizes of the lot, not very controversial. Mario, is it, or anyone else on staff, is it normal in the city to treat the front of the property for the front setback as the Gulf front area? Is that an unusual request?
Yes. It is.
You're saying it is?
Yes, sir. And if Jeannie was
Normally
here,
off
she
the
could
road.
speak more. She could
Normally
speak
off the road.
off of the Gulf, the front setback off the Gulf, and the corner setback at 10 feet off the road. And that's typical on those Gulf front lots.
That's what I'm saying, that's typical.
Yes,
That's not unusual.
Right, the larger setback is from the water instead of from the road. But if that's the case, that's fine.
Okay?
It looked like to me they just shifted the park around on the, that's all I saw.
Okay, unless you have anything else to add, or is anyone else here to speak for the request on replat at 33rd Street? Okay, we're gonna close the public hearing and move to the table. Any further comments? Or is there a motion on council?
Next motion, we approve the replat at 113 33rd Street South, 3 lots, 2 lots.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Keith?
Yes.
All right, number 6 is a lot split at 35th Street. We'll open a public hearing for that, and Mario, can you handle it, or we need?
I'm gonna pass it along because again, it's not a simple combination. This is a combination.
I'll handle it.
I have it. I knew you could.
And I got some
You
larger,
got more paperwork, don't you?
I got some larger sheets of go with these.
Come on, please, I can see them.
Can I just bring up something, the way we got a little thing today, the way I written, Tammy did it, that we can do the pages and separate them, that was good, young lady, thank you for doing that.
Yes.
I can find it a lot better.
Very nice. I
Very
agree.
nice, I just, before I forgot about it, I wanted to recognize it.
Right. And I agree. I found that
Very
it's
helpful.
the simplest of things make it difficult.
Thank you, Tammy.
All right, Lance.
All right, so on this one, currently there's 2 owners of 5 units, 5 lots, and William and Terry Newton, they own let's see, let me make sure I got this here. So the 3 western lots, and these were townhomes. So the 3 western townhome footprints were owned by William and Terry Newton. The 2 eastern units were owned by Doug and Cheryl Adams, and the common area, and this will all have to be done by the owners once approved. But the common area should be 3/5 owned by William and Terry Newton and 2/5 owned by Doug and Cheryl Adams. And what they're wanting to do is abandon the townhomes and the common area and just make it into 2 lots, not of equal size. They'll keep the way that we've split it. They'll keep their ownership of one will be 3/5 of the total parcel, and one will be 2/5 of the total parcel. That's why one is wider than the other. But that's what they're looking to do, is abandon what's there now and create 2 parcels. And they're requesting a 25-foot easement, so they'll have plenty of room to pull in and out through the western lot into the eastern lot.
Again, this is going from 5 units to 2 units, so it's reduction in density. Staff recommended approval.
Let me comment on 1 or 2 things that are in the packet that may be helpful as you look at this. So on the second page for this item, the property is described as 0.0138 acres, which I don't believe is correct. It probably was supposed to be 0.14, and I think that would describe just the area shown by the property appraiser as the units that previously existed, not including the common areas. The common areas account for a lot of the actual property. When you add it all together, Lance could probably give us a more specific number. It's closer to half an acre. So that item in your packet describes 0.0138 acres, I believe incorrect. And the other thing I wanted to update you on, as far as old plats go, this is already 2 lots, but it's a north and a south lot instead of an east and a west lot. But the townhome or condominium development that was on it previously kind of ignored the lot lines. So you've actually already got 2 lots here, but this is a different configuration. And finally, I don't think there's anything in the packet that confirms who owns that common area. I expect it is those unit owners. They probably do, they should. But we would want to condition any approval on having the applicant confirm that they do have ownership of the full property, not just the spot in the middle where they previously were.
Well, there's no plat attached showing, or there's nothing here showing what was there.
Yeah, that's
a little bit.
These guys are old, meets and pounds. Just these old townhome units. There's not a whole lot to go on, but they want to get this approval first, but they'll deal directly with their attorneys to make sure they can provide all the correct documentation.
I got you. All right, is there anyone else to speak for the, on number 6, as far as the 35th Street?
I got a question.
What you got?
Bob Coleman, 106 35th Street. Would that be considered a single-family residential home?
Yes, sir.
With the variance in between?
No variance. They'll still have to meet setbacks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have to meet the same setbacks as you would for a residential home.
Okay, good.
And they do according to their little drawing here.
Yeah, that'd be better.
Okay, any other questions on the, all right, we'll close the public hearing. Any questions from council or comments? I have a motion.
And again, please condition the motion on having the applicant provide proof of ownership of all property.
I make a motion that we accept the replat of 113 35th Street with the condition that the owners make clear who owns the common area.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Follett?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
All right, number 7, lot split for 110 14th Street. We'll open the public hearing. All right, but you've had a look.
This one is fairly simple. It's a fairly large lot. I believe it's 120 feet wide by 170 feet deep. It's close to half an acre. The owner wishes to split it in half, so you'll have 2 half-acre lots. This lot is on 14th Street, right next to the police and fire station.
All right, we'll open the public hearing. Anyone here to speak? Yes, sir. Or yes, ma'am.
I would like to register an objection to this on the grounds that this is the type of lot split that we have been denying for a number of years. This is an action where this lot, while it has the square footage to be split, is one of those that does not necessarily need to be split. And this is the type of thing where we have been fighting this, and this would create tremendous issues going forward on allowing lots of this size or lots that have enough square footage to be split, that more people would come in and try to split them, and that would create problems for the existing neighborhoods. So I am asking that you deny this.
Yes, sir.
I'm the owner of the lot. I'm trying to split the lots in quarter lots, square meter lots. Minimum requirements are 6 lots per acre, so it meets the minimum requirements. Before I applied for it, research from 14th Street, from 12th Street to 5th Street, there are already 24 lots smaller than the ones that are going to be if we allowed to split it. From those 24, there are 9 that the frontage is narrower than the ones that I'm going to have while it's split it. So it seems pretty common in those 4 lots. And there are another 16 lots that are about my size. So it's 40 lots. The vast majority of those 4 blocks, they are about the size of the lots I'm trying to get. So that's what I got before I asked for it.
Anyone else to speak? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. For me, I did go back and look at the plat, the original plat of that area, and the gentleman is correct. There's across the street from where this lot is, from all of those lots down the west side of 14th Street, are all
0.17.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Every one of them. 12th Street's the same. There are a few of these on the east side. The Garcia lot is of the same size. And I have been a proponent of not splitting lots because in the past, those that I have voted against changed the character of the neighborhood. I do not see this lot split doing that. And the streets, as he mentioned, on both sides, those smaller lots are, that's what's there compared to this one. So I think it's a legitimate request, and I don't see it as interfering or devaluing that area of our city. All right. Yes, sir.
You gonna make 2 lots out of it, or you plan on building on those lots?
Yes, 2 single-family homes.
Good. That's a real low area in there, and,
Yeah.
and when it rains, and I'm sure you probably got a lot of water on it. Still.
We got an elevation certificate, and we're going to have to raise it quite a bit. Yes.
Okay, because that water runs back away from the beach into that canal. And so I spoke with someone a year ago about those lots. You may have bought them from him, I don't really know. But anyhow, I just have if you would pay attention, if we do approve this, that when you do raise those things, that you keep in mind, because I think you can go 1.5 feet up with your dirt, according to Gina. I think that's what you can go up without a permit, special permit, is to keep that inverted swell between those 2 lots so that water will be able to get to the road, because that's already a low area, and I would hate to create.
There is an easement back between my lots and the other street, and I think that's lower. I think it's meant to run through there or something.
Well, when you build your lots up, if you will do an inverted swell in between them to bring that water from the back of the lot to the front,
yes,
where it'll drain better, I think it'll make the city work better, and you won't have any problem with your homeowners once you sell as a conflict. It'll already be there.
No.
Just a request, if you do that, it'll help.
Well, I'm planning to live in one of them, so okay. I want to make sure that.
Yeah, so you gotta make sure you run
for it.
questions. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Well, I agree with you, Al, on not splitting. We try not to split where it is less than what's in the area, and this does meet that qualification. It'll be approximately the same size as the other lots, so I got nothing against it.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion, we accept the replat of 110 14th Street.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further comments? Call the roll, please, Dan.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollak?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Keith?
Yes.
Okay, moving on, number 8, second reading of ordinance second reading of ordinance 760. This is in the same form as we had our first reading. If approved, it'll be cleaned up and is there any comments on ordinance 760 from last meeting to this meeting?
We're just doing a finalization.
Just, all we're doing now is doing the final reading that, like I say, they're cleaning it
That's
up.
what we already agreed and we're on, yeah.
Yeah, nothing changed.
Okay.
Aren't you gonna make your,
Yes.
What?
you gonna revise it?
No.
What? I'll do it. Okay. Me and Sharon will do it. What do you want to do, Sharon?
Very nice.
I don't like it when they know something we don't know.
I'm just teasing. We'll tell you after.
Okay,
All right, is there any discussion? Or is there a motion to read the title only?
Make a motion to read ordinance 760 by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Tammy, would you read, please?
You want me to read the ordinance?
Just the
Okay, ordinance 760. An ordinance of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending section 150.04 of the City Code regarding use and storage of recreational vehicles, allowing storage, eliminating certain short-term usage, and modifying the process and rule that allows for occupancy during construction of a residence, providing for severability, codification, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. All right, is there a motion to adopt?
Make a motion we adopt ordinance 760.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any comments?
Thank you.
You smiling.
That's good.
All right, call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollak?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Keith?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Next, number 9 is the lot combination that was discussed at the last meeting. We have something here that is instructed Nick to bring us something.
I'd be happy to introduce this.
Yeah, I think it would probably be better because you got more things in here than I realized you were going to.
Yeah,
That's okay.
I'll summarize it before you decide whether to do the first reading.
Okay.
The portion that you talked about in detail last meeting is toward the end. It's the last paragraph with all the underlining bold text that says lot combination. I believe that states what you described last meeting, although I did get a question about the threshold for if the combined lots exceed half an acre, that would come to the council. That was what I believe we discussed last time. That doesn't need to be the rule. That can be changed. We did have some conversation definitely about whether there were certain lot combinations that had either effects or sizes that would go beyond what you'd be comfortable having approved at staff level. I thought we've settled on something that results in over a half acre, but that's one issue you may want to look at closer if you're not comfortable with that threshold. And then as far as the remainder of the ordinance, I couldn't resist it. I took the opportunity to summarize our platting and lot split procedures that we currently use. I don't view these as changes from what we're currently doing, but we simply don't have it described really in our land development code. We have a habit and process we follow, but our process of how to do a preliminary plat, how to get a development order, start developing land, and how to get a final plat isn't really described in our land development code. That's what this first paragraph is with all the bold underlining. The second paragraph with bold underlining is describing lot splits. We define lot splits in our land development code, but we don't really describe how to get one. And so again, this is describing what we currently already do, which is lot splits go to the planning and zoning and to the city council. But if you don't want those two initial paragraphs, we can eliminate those and focus only on the lot combinations. I do think that including those two paragraphs is helpful for the public so they know what the rules are, and it's helpful in case we have any legal challenges in the future.
Okay, the ones that you're asking us to take a look at, that you don't have to include, or which one of these paragraphs? All the heavy underlined?
The first two, where it
Okay.
starts off to 3.0700 subdivisions, plating, and lot splits. Those first two paragraphs are new paragraphs that I added to what is already in the land development code. And again, they're, in my mind, about as short of a summary as I could put for how to go get a real plat and how to get a lot split.
You've mentioned that through the years several times, that you wish that we had something that was more clear.
This is the second or third time.
Okay, well, I'm just going to let you know, for me, I appreciate you feeling the need to do that, because now you won't have to tell us that we don't have it clear. The only thing I know from the combinations, which was my focus from the beginning, was that my recollection was that Darrell, and I think it was the consensus, that we were concerned about not combining like more than 3 lots. I don't recall an acre, I don't remember an area as being the defining threshold. I remember Darrell mentioning, I believe 3, if somebody wants, what if they wanted to do 5 lots? And Bob said, oh, well, I wouldn't do that.
My recollection was it was also pertaining to commercial, not so much residential.
Yeah, but it ought to be for,
Sure.
it ought to be for all of you.
There's no reason why it shouldn't be.
Yeah, but I just remember a number of lots instead of an area.
Right.
I think that we need to.
Yeah, because
Didn't you say 3? Somebody, I believe that's what.
Anything that was going to be like 3,
Yeah.
above 3, he had to come to us. From 3, he had to come to us. Was it 3 you had to come to us, or was it above 3? I can't recall. Do you recall, Mario?
No, I mean, we could listen to the minutes if need be, but
You can choose today what's most appropriate, and I'll modify it.
this is the first reading, so we will.
Yeah, it's not like it's defined, but I just don't remember, I thought that made sense. If somebody came into town and wanted to combine 3, 4, 5 lots, all of a sudden, whoa, now what do we,
Right.
I think 3 would be.
I think 3 is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be 3. If they're real small.
Can we just make that change? Is that a?
That's a minor enough change. We can do it. We haven't even had the first reading, so yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I'll make that change to the document in between.
Is everybody comfortable with that? Instead of, okay. Well then, with that, that's a minor change. Can we have the first reading and then we still got a whole nother?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Is there further discussion? Is there a motion to have the first reading of ordinance 761?
I make a motion that we read ordinance 761 by title only.
Second.
I have a motion second. Any opposition to read? Tammy, would you read, please?
Ordinance 761, lot combinations, first reading. An ordinance of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending the Land Development Code to confirm the rules for preliminary plat approval, final plat approval, and lot splits, providing a process for lot combinations, providing for codification, repealing ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict, providing for severability and an immediately effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, now we'll just go on to our next monthly cycle. All right, moving on. A series of resolutions. Mark, I'm going to let you
Yes, sir.
handle these prior to the request for motion to read.
Basically, on the first one, it's a task order for Dewberry to do the work to relocate the police and fire station. Their original proposal was for $9,000 and change, and now that FEMA wants a price for the old location, again, the amount of work that goes into this thing is not just throwing up square footages. We actually have to do some level of design, which is what they're asking for. This is compensated by FEMA to the best of our knowledge, but it's work that has to happen, and this allows Dewberry to get paid for the work that they're doing. $15,975 to design it twice.
Instead of the 9?
Instead of the original 9, this is 15 to do both.
It's just crazy the way they just saying.
I want to try to get through this without saying much. You are? I'm going to try. Is there a motion to read?
I'll make a motion we read resolution 2112 by title only.
A motion second. Tammy, please read.
Resolution 21-12, a resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving a task order with Dewberry Engineer Incorporated Professional Services to prepare a conceptual site plan and cost estimate for FEMA service proposal for the relocation of the Mexico Beach Police and Fire Facility. I'm sorry. In the proposed amount of $15,975.
Awesome. Very good. Is there a motion to adopt resolution 21-12?
I make a motion we approve resolution 21-12.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollak?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Cost?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Moving on, number 11 is another resolution. 21-13, Mario, again, please. They covered it.
Again, when Michael came through, it did some damage to the 8th Street culvert. When Sally came through, it did damage on the opposite side, and this is to do the engineering for...
You mean 15th Street?
15th Street, I'm sorry. So this is the engineering work to do all that work. $18,100. This will be compensated by fee between both hurricanes.
Okay. Is there any questions? All right, is there a motion to read resolution 2013 by title only?
I'll make a motion we read resolution 21-13 by title only.
Second.
Motion second, please do so.
Resolution 21-13, a resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving a task order with Dewberry Engineer Incorporated for professional services to assist with the design to repair the damage created by Hurricane Sally to the 15th Street box culvert in the proposed amount of $18,100.
Motion to adopt.
I make a motion we approve resolution 21-13.
Second.
Motion second. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollak?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Thank you. 21-14, Mario?
Mayor, this is a loan, state revolving loan that was provided to the city back in 2019. We borrowed a very small amount. The balance, this is just zeroing it out so that we have a zero balance. But we need to modify this to give it to the state.
Okay. This is that, never mind, I know what you're saying. I have that. DEP law.
The purpose for reduction of the loan was that most other work was qualified to be paid for by FEMA, so there wasn't a lot of work to do with this loan.
But just to pay it off.
Well, it just zeroes it out.
It just zeroes it out.
Okay.
And we have a record
That's what we do, really. I couldn't figure it out.
That's what. All right, do I have a motion to read resolution 21-14 by title only?
Make a motion to read resolution 21-14 by title only.
Second.
Mr. Hammond, one more time.
Resolution 21-14, a resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, ratifying the approval of the State Revolving Fund Amendment 2 to Loan Agreement WW030100 to reduce the award amount and eliminate the service fee.
Motion for adoption.
Make a motion to adopt 21-14.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollak?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Number 13 is a resolution 21-15 for request for some boards. Mario, what we got happening here?
There's a couple lots that need water taken over to the lots, and right now there's no water on that side of the street. There's water on the opposite side of the street. We can either do an open cut across the street and have another road that we've got to put a patch on. Instead, Kevin got a couple prices to do directional bores. I think this is 3 directional bores, and he's got a couple, 3 different places where he needs them. So his low bid is what is being proposed of $2,344 to do 3 directional bores.
My only question is that I've been for direction board, but I've been told through the last 5 or 6 years it's just too costly, so we just cut the road up the road. And I never understood why we did that. I never knew. To me, that's not expensive. So I don't compare
to a patch.
I'm only asking that is, are we making this a change?
Well, in the past, they were more expensive.
Oh.
Well, when I checked with them, I was surprised about the cost. Several years ago, they were a little more expensive.
Did we
Some
read?
houses gonna count on when they can be available too.
Yeah, if you read the last page there, it makes you think about it. If we in the area, we'd do it for that, but if they have to call, it's not for that price.
But that's not the one that we're suggesting. We're suggesting the other bidder.
How about that?
Thank you, Mario.
Well, I would like to see us try to get away from cutting roads.
And I can tell you, I've done a lot of grading and paving, and you never get it to where it doesn't sink. You have to patch a couple of times at least. And I can tell you, it's well more expensive than this. This is good news.
You get a casing too, so if that water line fails,
You can pull it out.
cut that off, pull it out, put another one in there.
There's nothing but
Well,
wind.
that's what I want to do here on out, and there will be others coming up in an area until 2 inch zone, but for now, we need these 3.
Well, let me ask this question. This is on here for this amount of money. Why is this on?
It's something new for us. I just wanted to make sure y'all were okay with this concept. That, again, it's within my spending authority, but it's a new direction.
Just a different way of doing it in terms. Okay, I'm fine with that. I was just wondering. Because I'm all for direction board. If it's halfway through. All right.
Where is this property? What are we talking about?
Well,
We've got 2 or 3 spots.
they have 2 or 3 lots. I don't know that after. Kevin, where are they?
On Bailey Lane.
On
We
Bailey?
got 3 lots.
Are they all on Bailey?
Yes, sir, all 3 on Bailey. We got 2 that's gonna be side by side, and we're running 1-inch lines, and we need to run 1-inch lines, because every time they want to sprinkle me, every time they build a house, so that 1-inch line will have running. And right now, we got one that wants a sprinkler meter. And if we're gonna do one more, we might as well catch the rest of the lots that don't have water on them. Makes sense. I mean, because fast they're building around here, it's not.
Absolutely.
Time.
I'm glad to see it make sense to us.
Yeah, did you ask them about, I mean, would it be possible if we made one more? And then because we're gonna be boring into the right of way, we could split that, is that possible?
Well,
Did you ask them?
the one lot's down the very end, Bailey.
I got you, okay, so they're not right side
They're not
by side?
right side by side.
Yeah, I got it, all right, okay. This will win.
Motion to read.
Motion to read resolution 21-15 by title only.
Second.
Dan?
Resolution 21-15, a resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving a quote from Broadband Telecommunications Incorporated for new water service lines under roads in the amount of $2,344.
Motion Beck. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion we approve resolution 21-15.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollak?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Last one, surplus property resolution. Pretty self-explanatory. We have a list of items here that we have to do before we can have to officially declare them surplus, before we can do anything with them.
Do we have a list of where they are or what they are?
It's in the agenda.
In fact,
Very bad.
It's the very last,
I'm not on the
very
right-
last 6
I'm not
or
on the
7
right
pages.
organized pages.
Tammy, well, Jared, I'll get you straight.
I'm sure Tammy will too.
Yeah.
This is a help to me now.
Yes, they
Just
just
making a note of it right there.
There's 9 vehicles and then a bunch of controllers and pumps and
Okay, so I
motors
know what
and
we're
things.
talking about now, yeah, right.
And instead of us having our own small auction, I talked to the sheriff's department and they have a much larger auction, so we'll include this in their next auction route and just put it all over that.
Cool. Can I make a motion now?
Do they come get it, Mario? I mean, we're gonna be out in the money probably to get it there. I know.
We'll see.
We'll see.
It might be where we just have to make it available for them to come look at it, but some of that equipment is stored in an area that's going to be hard to get to, so we're going to have to move some of it anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Let's give it a go ahead. Let's go.
Yeah.
We're waiting on you.
Make a motion to read resolution 21-16 by title only.
Last one.
Second.
Thank you, Jared, for saying that. Tammy, this is the last time. Go ahead.
Resolution 21-16, surplus property. A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, declaring certain property surplus, authorizing its sale or disposal, and revising master audit list to remove those items and other obsolete items.
Motion for approval.
I make a motion we approve resolution 21-16.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollak?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Yeah, there's just some levity occasionally. And I was looking at this list, and I don't know who wrote this up. We got a Chevy Silverado that says, will run, but take it out of service, not safe to drive.
We don't run. It just, the rust's gonna make it fall into.
You might need that. That might fit in your fleet.
Well, it would probably match the rest of my fleet.
Oh, man, I just know.
You're the last.
The newest vehicle I've got's an 07,
You're right.
and I'm happy and proud to have it.
Oh, my. All right, moving on. Mr. Attorney, what you got for us?
Very brief update on the special master search. I spoke to two good options yesterday. They both plan to submit proposals, and I have one proposal already. So I think at the next meeting, you'll have some options and you can go and make a selection.
Awesome. You smiling? Okay.
I was looking at it.
I know, okay. All right, Mario.
We did close on the parcels on 37th Street. We've gotten that information to the state. They should be sending me some forms to fill out so that we can get reimbursed for the full amount. They did relax the fact that they couldn't pay over the appraised value. They're making that modification so that they will pay the full amount. So that's on go.
Good.
One of the hot items that I'm pushing, because I'm starting to get calls from the bidders, is on our asphalt work, our resurfacing of the roads. I put as much pressure as I could with FEMA and the state in our last Wednesday meeting, telling them that I'm starting to get calls from my two contractors saying with fuel prices going up, that asphalt will soon be going up, as with all the material costs, and that there's a potential for this to cost the city more. We're already right at budget, so we really need them to release us to do the alternate and portions of the base bid as opposed to doing the base bid that is not exactly what we'd like to go to. I'm pushing a string. I'm not even pushing a rope. But I'm putting.
Did you send that other email? That guy said send him another email. Did you send it?
Yes, sir.
And
what we sent was the copy of the string of emails to the website.
Yeah, it's fixing to get way more expensive.
Yeah.
Trucking, it's all petroleum related, everything about it.
And
Material,
again,
everything.
I'd like to give kudos to everybody involved, David and Ryan and Dina. They ask you questions that are you, it's the kind of questions that you just go back and are you kidding me? Again, the police and fire station location, it's just baffling that they're asking the questions that they do, but they continue to work and just answer, but we appreciate it. And kudos to staff over the day of Friday and Saturday. The amount of rain that we received was somewhere north of 7 to 8 inches. I can tell you that they helped save the brand new parking lot. They helped save sections of 98. We eased some fears on 15th Street. The amount of rain that we received in this storm was very different from Sally. Sally's storm was water coming from Gulf counties. Michael's storm was water coming from the Gulf. This was all just straight down, and we had washouts on canal. So everybody was plugging every hole in every level of the dike that we could, and we made it through, and now we're licking our wounds this week. So thank you to all the staff and extra work that they put in. So I know that there were people here Saturday and probably even Sunday plugging things in, so thank you.
Okay. You done?
Yes, sir.
Any questions?
For him?
Tomorrow?
No.
All right. Jay, you have anything?
I'm good.
I do. I just want to make a comment, speaking to the water issue that we have with, and I think we got pretty close to 10 inches. There's a lot of water. And all around, I got Tommy to look at a place on 4th Street that's just totally blocked up, and he knows, and they're going to come clean it out. But one of the things that I found out was that he used to be in charge of when we add dirt to a lot, that he came out to make sure that they weren't putting water on someone else's lot. That's now a responsibility of the engineer, the inspection department. On this particular lot, they put dirt on it, and that dirt is higher than the lot right next to it, that was already marginal, without cutting swells around the sides to allow the water that did get off on it to go around and get into the ditches. And so my point is, and I think because in this city we do have a storm drainage problem, that is really our major water problem. And that's something that I intend to address this coming year and try to figure out how we can fix it. But there are some certain fixes that we can do. Whenever we put dirt on a lot, we should, along the property lines, back, front, sides, and everything, create an inverted swell. And I know that some owners don't want those little inverted swells, but then they don't really want their house to flood or their neighbors. So that's the only way that you get water to keep from going in the house until it can either run off or dissipate. And I think we need to make sure that our inspection department knows that when they allow dirt to be put on, that these inverted swells, it's done in every development that I've ever been involved in my life. You never don't allow for water to run from the lots into a shared property line area, out the back, out the front. So we need to get our inspection department to do that, to make sure that they do that. I had to cut a swell around it. When I cut a swell around it, it quit running into their stuff. And it got into the ditch.
No, it's a great idea, but you can't do that all the time. Mario, I've seen him, he was at my house down the street. When I built my house, I had to raise my property. I don't have a storm drain. There's no pipe on my street for 4 houses. There's nowhere for the water to go to.
Well,
you can do whatever inverted swell you want. It can't go anywhere if you don't have a pipe.
I understand. That's part of what I intend to work on as a councilman this year, is to try and find ways that we can rectify those kinds of issues.
And the city did. I told Mario about it. 2018, before the hurricane, they surveyed 7th Street and Colorado to put piping in, and then the hurricane hit.
Right.
But I mean, that was being done. So somewhere you have surveys that are sitting here because it was done.
Yeah, well, that's going to be my main focus, is to see how we can alleviate some of these problems, because if we can do that, then, you know, we don't have to worry about setting a pump that water's running in. And I know a lot of that is we had storm, and we've scoped them, and we know that we got damage in the storm drain system that we're going to fix. It's a FEMA issue and whatever. So I know that part's coming, but we could do the preparatory stuff, like cleaning out the ditches, making sure they're flowing to the proper section. Areas like you're talking about that should have had a pipe under, you know, we're going to have to address that issue and put pipes under, because you got to at least get water in the ditch. And if the ditch in there, you got to make a ditch.
Well, you also need to add to your list of things to fix the issue that people are bringing in dump truck loads of dirt and putting them on the property without getting permits for fill dirt, and they are also filling in the drainage ditches that have existed for years.
That's just what I just said.
But you have to catch the people who are bringing the dirt in and nobody's checking on it. And we have that massive problem on my block of Maryland.
That's what I just said, that the inspection department took over that responsibility from Tommy, and he was making sure that was happening. And then when the inspection department, it's something that slipped by them, so we need to reiterate with them that whenever dirt comes in, they need to make sure that the water goes into the ditch, not onto the property of the adjacent neighbor. So that's part of what I just said.
This is the point, but never mind.
Now, it's not in the site plan.
Stormwater is part of the development water process.
Yeah, but see, but on this
You're talking about when they just come in and fill, they're not building, they're just filling the lot.
Well, they did a good thing. They cleared all the dead trees out of there, and since they were clearing all the dead trees out, they said, well, let's go ahead and put some dirt in there. And they put dirt in there. That doesn't require development water, because you're not about to build yet.
That's right.
If they put more dirt in a certain amount,
You can put part of the stormwater, that it is in there, it's just nobody riding around and say, hey, there's some dirt, or
That's it right there.
I'm just saying that we need to make sure that they understand that they got to check for that. Because I think it's 1.5 feet you can put on your lot without a permit, according to Gina. There's a discussion on that.
There is a number, I can't.
No.
It's 1.5 feet you can put on your lot without doing a permit.
I got you. Good job. Bob, what you got?
I'm good.
Jerry? Come on.
I just want to just say, I mean, I know Dale, but I think this city is really moving forward.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
And I'm so proud of us. We did good at this hard rain, and everybody worked together. I even had Mario with his shoes. Looking at places. So, we coming, and I think we all need to be thankful for what we got. And Nick does a good job, and we got people working together, and I think this town is really progressing, and I'm proud of it. That's all I'm gonna say. All the city employees, I mean, we forget about the little things like the sheriff department, full fire department people. Everybody's doing a wonderful job. So I think we need to be proud of what we got and what we have accomplished. That's it.
I know I was
Kudos to
glad
that.
the trees and the shrubs down there on the picture.
Oh, yes. That's right.
That made my day when I
That'll
saw
make us
that.
all feel better.
Yes.
I've got one thing that sort of makes you feel better. An acquaintance of mine who stopped by to see me wanted to know what he could do to help the city. He sent me a $1,000 check to be used to help renovate Parker Park. I want to pass that on to our clerk And that can go, we used to have a letter, I personally have thanked him and called him, but we used to have where we recognize people for helping with the city back during the storm. So for John Colton, he's from Nashville, has owned property here a long time, and I'm grateful that we have, this is just an indication of the spirit of our town. That's all that is, really. So I'll make sure to get that to you, Tammy, and you can send him a note, and that can go to how y'all keep up with all of that. Jerry, well said. But it is, our town has a good feel to it.
It does. I'm proud of it.
And the city helps establish that. We don't please everybody. Well, we try it. I'll tell you, we do.
Me and Rob don't care that. We don't care that.
Motion for adjournment. So moved. Thank everyone for coming.